Hello. Welcome. You know, Musume has been giving us a lot of love. You know, I didn't see the show yet. I didn't see the episode yesterday. I woke up this morning, feel like after last week's episode, full of the emotions, the rivalry that Diamante and Kid Black gonna have for each other. I'm like, it's gonna be some rivalry matches going on. But then I woke up this morning thinking to myself, we're gonna have another great episode of Musume. It's just wow. Musume, you hit it again. You hit my effing heart. And I was tearing up in this episode because here's the thing. When it comes to Musume, the tears of sadness and the tear of happiness, depending on the characters going through, it embrace us. It's embrace us. This season of Musume had a lot of tears. Tears of sadness after sadness after sadness. And there are tears. There were tears of forgotten ones. Tears of happiness. Tears of almost everything. For these past seasons, for these past 5 episodes, now we have 6, but for the last 5 episodes, we have seen the development of Kid Black. Her rivalry with Diamante, her training montage, and all the characters who've been dedicated to Kid Black. Now, and I said from the first episode, we're going to see some development in Kid Black, but also Diamond. And yes, this episode of Musume was dedicated to Diamond. But this episode has got everything out to the point where I was tearing up this morning. I legit teared up because of what we got. So, let's get right to the review of Musume Season 3, Episode 6. Episode 6 review. See how I'm talking? Because it's so freaking emotion. And just so you know, my reaction, you're gonna be like, what? Okay. Now, normally Musume kicks off with the opening. We always have an opening for these episodes. But in this case, we did it. Now, for those of you who has not been keeping up with Diamond's races, it's the Satono jinx that's been luring around for days. I mean, for years. Diamond has lost 2 races in her match. The first race she lost, she was falling way behind. And then the second race came in, and she lost by a centimeter due to a horseshoe problem. A horseshoe! So then, and again, going back, there's no opening because this was a very important episode. You see, when it comes to shows like this, when there's no opening and no ending, you get an episode like this, you're bound to be glued by it and get ready to cry or clap, whatever. Anyway, Diamond. Her next race is coming up. But everybody is talking about this Satono jinx. The jinx that's been going around for years. And I'm going to get to that later. It's the Satono jinx. That's what they call it. Now, throughout this episode, there's been some funny gimmicks. Haha. There's been funny gimmicks like, zodiac signs and her traits of characters. Her way of avoiding bad luck, like having a black cat, having a black crow. There was a moment where she jumped, when it was midnight, and she jumped over the fence and then landing on a pickup truck on time, like right off the back. And then you got to see the debut of Ricky, the other horse girl, Ricky. I like Ricky. She's really nice. I like that hair color, the horse ear color, which is really nice. All that. And finding out the 7 wonders of the Musume thing, all that kind of thing. It was funny. But here's where it gets a little tricky. So Diamond. You know, Diamond's backstory is way under pressure. It's more under pressure than anything. To sum it up, it's like this. The Satono family has been a league of horse girls throughout her entire life. But then time went on, and they've been losing, and losing. It's the jinx that's been going around in the Satono family. So much so that a lot of pressure is put on Diamond. Diamond has been on pressure mode right now because everybody thinking she ain't gonna win because of this jinx. She's not gonna win because of this curse that's been going around in their generation, and because of that, it's like a league that keep going and keep losing. So the pressure was on Diamond to win this race, not only for herself, but her family. The Satono family. Now, and the thing I like about this scene, guys, is this. McQueen and Diamond. Most of the time, I like what they did in this episode because of the fact that we see Kitty Khan Black and Tokai Tail. And Tokai Tail is, giving Kitty Khan Black some advice. This right here is the same thing with McQueen giving advice to Diamond. And McQueen felt the same pressure as Diamond. Because if you go back to season 2, the same thing was like that to Diamond. Because McQueen is like, she has to win races for the family, just like Diamond is. But Diamond thinks it's still this jinx thing, but there's no such thing as a jinx. I mean, yeah, I know people think it's a jinx. You probably have a bad day. You probably have a bad race. That happens. That happens in life. We all have a bad day. We all have a bad race. We sometimes forget things on a regular basis. That's how it is. And people still believe in superstitious. I mean, you step on a crack, you break your mother's back. You got a black cat passing by, you get bad luck. And there's some good lucks. Rabbit's foot, 4-leaf clover, the number lucky 7. I mean, yeah, you get that. But anyway, let's cut to the chase. This race. I was cheering for Diamond. Diamond had to win the race. More than anything in life, she has to win herself. Not for herself, but for her family. And for all the horse girls who was with the Satono family, like the ones you saw where one of them was staring at the TV and the screen, one of them was looking at the stadium outside, the chart. Everybody was looking, and including the father and the mom. They were looking. Diamond put her heart and soul in this race. I was cheering for her more than anybody in that audience was cheering for Diamond. And then I'm like, please, Diamond, please, Diamond, please, Diamond. And then finally, Diamond won. Diamond won the race. I was so proud of her that when she cried, I don't blame her. I don't blame Diamond to win this race. I don't blame her. She worked really hard. She had a lot of pressure. We talked about Kitty Khan Black having pressure. No, Diamond had more pressure than Black because the Diamonds and her family has been on a string of bad luck. They had a string of losing streaks. They had to break that freaking curse. there was so much superstitious. They put a lot of superstitious pressure on her, saying, "Oh, they ain't gonna win because of the Satono jinx, the Satono jinx, the Satono jinx." Like, shut the fuck up. They've been putting a lot of pressure because everybody was saying this is a jinx. This Satono family is a jinx. They ain't gonna win on races, all that stuff. But Diamond broke. She broke the mold. She broke the mold of this whole, like, there's no jinx. You gotta believe in yourself. You know you can win the race. And Diamond won the race. And when she cried of happiness, when she cried, half of the audience cried. No, let me break this down for you. One third of the crowd was smiling, 1/3 was crying, and 1/3 was crying happy. Crying and smiling at the same time. And I was on that crying. I was this close to tearing up because, again, Diamond won. And you saw everybody's crying. You saw the horse girls that was with the Satono family, they cried. You saw the 2 horse girls that was sitting on the couch, cried. You even saw the father. Well, I won't call it the father, but you see him, and the first generation Satono family, the horsewoman, she cried too. They were all crying. They were all crying. I mean, she won. She got to perform. What else you want me to say? There was no opening. There was no ending. This was about the legacy of the Satono family and the pressure that Diamond had to go through just to show everybody this is not a jinx. We are a breed of the best in the family. I have a lot of pressure, but I'm going to level it up to show everyone this is not a jinx. This is just me. I am Diamond. I'm going to win. In this race, and in this episode, this race, she did it. She freaking did it. Diamond, you are the best. Don't let no one tell you it wasn't a fucking jinx. Don't let no one tell you that. She was confident, and she did it. In this episode, like I said, the emotions, the drama, the passion. This is why Musume is an S-tier show, because of shit like that. Guys, go watch Musume and tell me from this episode that you feel something when watching that, because this is one of those episodes that you have to watch for yourself. And just watch it. Just watching that show, just watching that episode, you could feel like, okay, I gotta watch Musume from season 1. And shit like that, you got to. So, this episode overall was jam-packed drama. I understand that there were tears, like, oh, every episode of Musume has tears. But these tears were full of happiness, the pain that's been swept away. It's like a weight of bricks off your shoulder. It was that. And because of Diamond, her will of never giving up, the whole bad luck bull is gone. We're talking about development, and we got development in Diamond. So Diamond, I am so proud of her, and I'm pretty sure everyone else felt the same way. Now, I don't know what next week's episode's preview is. I don't know. But this episode alone was without a doubt one of the best development we have seen from Diamond. And pretty soon, as the episodes move on and on, we're going to see more of Diamond's develop as it goes. So, I look forward for next week's episode of it, and I'm sure you will.